This episode of Love and Watches is brought to you by the Swiss Watch Company, a family-run company creating quality Swiss timepieces at affordable prices.
Love and Watches is a family-friendly podcast for male and female watch lovers alike. Perpetual Girl and Ranch Racer are a watch-crazy wife and husband team who've been wearing and collecting watches for more than 45 years. They enjoy bringing you the latest in collecting, interviews, news, and all things interesting in the world of watches. Enjoy the show.
Hey, Watch fam, this is Ranch Racer.
And this is Perpetual Girl.
Welcome to the Love and Watches podcast. This is episode 31. And today we're talking about, we're doing another What's in the Collection, basically. So yes. I think this is the fourth one, I think, that we've done. These are fun. I mean, we've got a lot to share, so we might as well keep going on these. We'll probably have several more. I think the last one we did was, 8 months ago, something like that.
Could be.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to walk you guys through 4 watches each.
There is actually a criteria for these watches as well.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, these are all under $1,000. Actually, these might all be under $500 now that I think about it.
Mine are as well.
Yeah, mine are all under $500. So yeah, we're good. So these are all watches under $500. Some of you guys have been asking for more, doing more stuff on affordable watches, which we love doing anyway. So yeah, and I think probably our wrist checks fit into that category today too, don't they?
Mine does not.
Oh, okay.
Mine does not, but it's a theme I have on Instagram. So
oh, cool.
I'll let you go first if you'd like to start with wrist checks.
Actually, before we get into the wrist checks, I want to remind everyone. So I'm releasing this podcast on Saturday the 14th in the afternoon Pacific time. Midnight tonight is the deadline to enter our giveaway for the Swiss Watch Company Diver. Beautiful Swiss-made watch, $450 value, I think. So definitely get in on that. Go to Instagram. Go to our Instagram page. Find the contest post. You can't miss it. Lots of bright colors and the picture of the watch. So get in there, enter the contest. If you're anywhere east of North or South America at this point, you're probably too late. So this is mostly for our North and South American listeners. You guys still have some time. Midnight tonight is when it ends. So get in there and enter. Make sure to do all 3 things, guys. I mean, we put tons of details in the contest post. You have to do 3 things. You got to tag 3 friends. You have to like the post, and you got to follow the channel. Several people out there have done 1 or 2, but not all 3. If you don't do all 3, you don't get entered. It's that simple. So please make sure to do all 3 things. That gets you your 2 entries. If you enter via email, send it to admin@loveandwatches. We've gotten some of those already, and you get 1 entry.
I'd like to also add something that I initially said that I thought that this might be a little bit too big of a watch for a smaller wristed or a lady to wear. However, today I've been, I took it out of the box and I sort of put it on. I haven't resized it, of course, but I took some photos of myself with it, and it's actually lovely. And I think any of the ladies who like to wear a larger watch, I think it's perfectly fine, and it looks really, really, really beautiful.
That seems to be the in thing. Big watches on small wrists these days. I'm seeing a lot of that. So if that's your thing, you're going to love this watch if you have a small wrist.
Right. And also with the OEM, with the bracelet, the lugs don't hang over my wrist. So that says something. It actually, the way the shape of the band sits on your wrist, there's no negative space between the lugs and my wrist. So yes, it is a large style, but if you like that, then
it's a diver.
You're
Divers are
gonna
big.
love this watch.
No different than a Seiko Prospex, right? A turtle, 44 millimeter turtle, or a samurai, or any of those.
And I have to give a shout out to Tyler Alexander Photography for his photos, because I've been trying to take some photos, and with the pearlescent finish on the dial, I'm having a lot of challenges. I'm not a professional photographer, but I'm just finding that there's so much light play and reflection in the dial that it's just kind of shining back at me. So that tells you a little bit about the finish and how much depth and sparkle there is in this dial.
Tyler knows what he's doing. That is for sure. And he took all the official photos for Josh and and his dad, and actually and his brothers now. They're all involved in the business at this point. So yeah. Anyway, get out there and sign up for the contest. I mean, I know there's several contests and giveaways going on right now for watches. We think this is right up there at the top. I mean, this is an amazing watch. You guys don't want to miss out on this. So make sure to head on over to Instagram and enter. Man, it is freaking cold. It is so cold out here today. I'm really looking forward to some sun tomorrow. That'll
It's
be
in
nice.
the 40s. I think the happiest little beings on the property are the geese because they have feather jackets.
Yes. Built-in down jackets. They're pretty stoked. But I have my
You
hot
have a warm
chocolate.
beverage. Okay.
My warm beverage that might have some Irish cream in it. Just maybe.
And I just have I like to call it a wind chime.
Yeah, you've got something
Ice.
going on over there too.
Yeah. Keeping my voice in tip-top shape.
So you're feeling better, which is good. You're
little
done
bit.
with all of your treatments at this point, so now it's just road
Recovery.
to recovery, and then hopefully feeling good for several months. I got to do some racing last weekend. That was cool, right before your second treatment. So most of you guys know I have a background in racing vehicles of one sort or another, and last weekend I did the Lemons race. It's called 24 Hours of Lemons at what I like to call Sears Point still, but it's actually, I think, referred to as Sonoma Raceway these days. A lot of fun. We had a great time.
It's actually a series that anybody can race in.
Yeah.
You don't need special training.
You have to spend $500 or less on an old junky car that still runs and
Or
put
get
the
on a
safety
team.
gear in it,
Yeah.
and or find someone that's
Find a
already
team.
running, which is
It's
what
very
I did.
affordable. I mean, a weekend could cost you maybe $200.
Well, a weekend for me, if we run the whole weekend, which is, it's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours on Saturday and then 7 or 8 hours on Sunday. It cost me like $500, and that's for several hours of track time. I mean, it is the cheapest form of road racing on the planet. And it's just a lot of fun. People have a great time. They come up with themes for their cars and stuff.
It's very funny.
It is very funny, and we actually have a new car for our team, and it's one of the quickest out on the track, and so we just have a great time. So I got to do that last weekend. What else is going on? I think that's probably about it this week, huh? Should we get into some wrist checks? Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. I'm wearing your watch, and I've been wearing it for, 3 days now? It's the Omega Speedmaster Pro Moonwatch, manual wind, sapphire sandwich.
Yeah, that's the nickname because it's got the sapphire case back.
Caliber 1863 movement. It's the case size is 42 millimeters, but without a rotor. I've really enjoyed
It's really
wearing
thin,
it.
yeah.
It's very thin, and I've got the Humism Milanese mesh band on it, and I've been really loving. I wear this band on a lot of watches. I love the Milanese because it gives you a low profile. So
it's a little bit lighter. I think there's a little bit more femininity to a Milanese watch or a bracelet. So I think it looks great on you, and you're getting a lot of compliments on it on Instagram.
And I wouldn't say feminine because a lot of men like it, and it gives it a different feel, more formal, I'd say, without being sporty. It's hard to say, but in some watches it works. I think it works really well on this watch because there's not a lot of negative space between the lugs.
Right.
I have other watches that have a lot of space, and it works based on the dial shape.
Yep.
This one, it works, but I have to say I could probably wear this watch for a whole month. And I thought about doing that, but I think for now I'll just go with it and enjoy it and see where it takes me.
It looks good on you with that bracelet. I think it looks really good.
Thank you. Yeah, and the lugs don't hang over my wrist either, so it fits well. And had to train myself to wind it daily.
Yeah,
but it's nice. You're involved with your timepiece, so it's and the loom is fantastic.
Yep, it's a fun one. That's one I've always enjoyed. So glad to see you're getting some enjoyment out of it as well. I do want it back, by the way, though. Yes, I want it back.
Okay. Now, what are you wearing? Let's distract him.
I am wearing, I'll take it off and show you. I am wearing my Casio Arnie, or Arnold. It's a nickname that was given to this watch. So This watch, I think I've probably told this story, but I'll quick recap. So back in the early 90s, I got my scuba certification and started diving. This is before the ISO standard for dive watches. So the watch that I bought, it was in the dive shop that I bought all the rest of my equipment in, was this watch. This is not that watch. It got thrashed. I mean, it gets salt and it was destroyed after several years of diving. But I don't know, maybe it was sometime, I think last year or year before, I saw Casio Geek post one of these on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
You
that
recognized
brings back
it.
so many memories. So I found this one. It was at an estate sale online, I think on eBay. It's like, it was brand new. It looks like it's never been worn.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, yellow dial. Again, this is pre-ISO standard, so the bezel is, it's not a unidirectional, it's bidirectional, so you can rotate it either direction. It's a combination compass bezel and 60-minute timer bezel. And then it's got, so it's analog, but then it's also got a digital window at the bottom. It's an alarm watch, chronograph, all that fun stuff.
I love alarms.
So, now, the reason this is called the Arnie, and I had to do a little research on this because I had no idea. I mean, this was just a watch I bought to dive in. It's called the Arnie because in a movie, and I think it was Kindergarten Cop that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in, like in 1992, he wore this watch. So it affectionately became known as the Arnie. So that's where that comes from. Pretty big. I think it's 46 millimeter, big chunky diver, but, and rubber, kind of less expensive, but still a decent rubber strap on it. And, yeah, it's just fun. I really enjoy it.
I think the color scheme is relevant because the last couple of years we've seen a lot of gold dial, black bezel, like the Tudors, and kind of a back to the yellow colors. And I've seen several people online wearing that one.
Yeah.
The vintage.
Yeah. And this has several like yellow gold accents, like the seconds hand and the perimeter on the hour and minute hand. Those are all yellow gold. The I don't know, the dial's like a sunburst yellow almost.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty. It's yellow gold.
Yeah. And then black bezel with gold accents on it. It's just really a lot of fun. And every time I wear it, I feel like I'm back in my college days scuba diving. So, so that's what I'm wearing today. Great watch. And, yeah. Should we get into the meat of the episode?
Sure.
Let's just dive right in. So,
sure. Yeah, we kind of just sort of on a whim decided to record. So we haven't done a lot of prep. We have some notes. I have lots of notes, but we just obviously haven't recorded everything yet. So we thought, let's just do it. So we're going to wing it.
We are flying by the seat of our pants today, folks.
But we do have a plan, and that is the collection.
Yeah, so
we've mentioned before that we've collected for a long time. I started collecting when I was 5, and I'm in my
Well, you started wearing watches
when
you
I
were 5.
was 5.
Yeah.
My first watch, I was about 5.5. And now I'm in my 50s. So you can imagine that's a lot of time.
The first 20 years of my life, I wouldn't say I was a collector. I just wore a watch because that's how you told what time it was. We didn't have cell phones in our pockets. So,
and I think by the time I got into high school and college is when I started seeing things and, like my ring watch. I've posted that on Instagram. That's a nifty little quartz. So, we love both quartz and automatic. So I've got a little bit of everything. My collection is over 80 pieces now. I think yours is over 40 or 50.
Definitely over 50, but I don't know. It's somewhere between 50 and 60 probably.
We have an extremely diverse collection. And we do have a lot of new listeners. So
yep. Go back and listen to the first 3 episodes. You'll hear some of the watches we talk about in those. But today, like we said, we're each going to go through 4 watches. I think they're all mechanicals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all mechanicals, actually all automatics, all under $500 or attainable for under $500. Even if they have like a list price of over $400, they're easily and readily attainable for under $500. So this should be a fun collection to go through. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Go for it.
So of my 4, mine range in value from $70 up to $500. They're all automatic. First one I'm going to talk about is the Hampton Nanic. And this is one I wear a lot. It's, the retail is about $500. and it could be a little bit more or less depending on the options that you get with it based on bands, or I believe there's a hardening option of the steel. It's a 39 millimeter case, 10.6 millimeter thickness of the case. The lugs are 20 millimeters, and it's got a H pattern bracelet with an adjustable buckle that I'm in love with.
Yeah, quick adjust. That's always nice to see.
It's not just quick adjust, but you can adjust it while you're wearing it. And lately I've had a lot of changes in my wrist size from day to day based on what concoction of medication
they're pumping into you
from the mothership.
Yeah.
So this one's been, for a while there, I was wearing this almost daily. So I know this could easily be a one watch for somebody. Beautiful dial, applied indices. It's got a full day and the date, and the loom is fantastic. It lasts all night because I'm up periodically during the night looking at the time. So I really enjoy it. The movement is the Sellita SW240-1. You're more familiar with that than me.
Mm-hmm. It's the day date, and it's got the full day of the week up at the top,
full day
curved
spelled.
like a Rolex day date,
like a presidential, right?
Yeah, like a Rolex. Well, their official name, I guess, is a day date, but the nickname is a president.
So that's my first watch. What else can I say about it? It's just...
Well, a little about the brand. So Hampton was founded by a gentleman by the name of Ross in the UK. Ross is a great guy. I actually met him over Slack chat, the wristwatch review Slack channel, before I even started writing for them. So several years ago, met Ross. And he just does a real nice job. He's got a neat kind of eclectic selection of different styles of watches that he offers today.
You have one of his first ones, don't you?
Yeah, I've got the Hampton Neon, which I think was his second. Okay. So yeah, Ross is a good guy. He cares about the quality of the product. And like I said, I think he's got a really kind of a cool selection, very diverse selection of offerings on the website. So definitely go check out Hampton, Hamtun, located out of the UK. I think that's probably it for that one, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. My first one will be quick because if you go back to, I think it was either the second or third What's in the Collection episode, you shared yours. We both got them. You got yours first. I got mine second. It's the Traska Freediver. Absolutely love this watch. Love this brand. It's a micro brand based in the US. I want to say the owner's name is Mike. I really should have looked this up beforehand. But
like I said, we just 10 minutes ago decided to record.
So this, you had gotten the mint dial with the stainless steel bezel, and then he did a limited number of these gray dials. And I dug at them and I saw it. You could do either the stainless steel bezel, or what I did was the black sapphire, which is also loomed. And that's why I love a loomed bezel. Mm-hmm. So it's just a good, solid, basic 3-hand dive watch. NH38 movement. So when I got this, I think it was only offered in a no date with the NH38. You can, if he offers them again, which if you go to the Traska Watch website, it indicates that these will be available again. It says December 2019. I don't know if they're already sold out or if they're coming, but you can get it with the NH35 as well if you prefer a date window. So this is the NH38 no date,
which mine is as well.
Yep. It's a great size, 40 millimeter. Lug to lug is under 50. It's a 48 millimeter lug to lug, 20 millimeter lug width. Kind of your typical oyster style bracelet and clasp. Drilled lugs. I love drilled lugs. So for those of you that don't know, drilled lugs, it basically just means that where the spring bar attaches the bracelet to the case, the hole is drilled all the way through. So it's really easy to remove and replace the spring bars, and hence the, swapping out bracelets and stuff. So,
and I kind of like the look too. I mean, it depends on, some people don't like that look at all because they think it looks broken up, but I actually like the way it looks depending on the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really even notice it. I notice it when I want to swap out a bracelet. And I love jeweled lugs, so big fan. 200-meter water resistance, $400. Really hard to beat.
And that's the retail after the Kickstart, correct?
Yeah, that's the retail on the website today. So lots of different colors. I think they're all sold out right now. Again, I don't know if he's planning on releasing more of these. I hope he does, because I think it's one of the best micro brand divers out there.
Well, and they're really popular with women as well, and it's kind of funny because that's a large case size, and I've worn yours before with the black bezel. It looks like a completely different watch compared to mine with the stainless bezel. The stainless with the mint dial wears so much smaller, and it is large, but and the men are, the guys are wearing the mint dial as well, and it's not feminine, but it wears a lot smaller for the ladies without the black bezel. I've seen several gals with the mint dial and stainless bezel, and I love it. It's another watch I wear a lot.
That's interesting that it can be the exact same watch, but with a different bezel and dial color.
It feels completely different size.
Different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just proves you just got to try everything on, and don't pass something up. Try it.
And if you can't try it on, ask for feedback from owners, right? On Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, email. Find out who owns them and ask them what they think, what their wrist size is. I'm a 7.5, you're a 6 1/4, or 6 3/8. Big difference in wrist sizes, but it works for both of us. So that's cool.
Great.
All right. That's my first one.
Me? My next watch in the collection is, and I've talked about Seiko 5 before, and I've actually had a previous Seiko 5, so it's a bit of a repeat, but this is actually a different dial color. It's the white dial, the Seiko 5 SNK 789, and I paid a little bit more than the current price on Amazon, but right now on Amazon it's $71.89, so this is under $75
for a mechanical watch, guys.
Mechanical watch. It's a small case size, 36 millimeters, but a lot of guys like it. And I have to say for this price point, this is a really beautiful dial. It has a sort of an inner disc pattern. It's got applied indices, day and date, exhibition window. Let's see, 11 millimeter case thickness, so it's not too terribly thick. And the lugs are 18 millimeters, so you can still find quite a bit of NATO bands or leather bands. And I have interchangeable bands that I wear from other watches. It's kind of a watch that you could dress up formal with the I've put the Milanese on it, and I just have to say, we've got a lot of watches in our collection, and I love that watch. It's $70.
This is why we've always loved Seiko. The Seiko 5, the Seiko Prospects.
It's a great beginner watch, but it's also something that someone who has a white dial watch that might be $5,000 will also have a Seiko 5. So, price doesn't always matter. It's what you love. If you like it, wear it.
It's what you love, but I mean, you put this on and you feel like you're wearing a Rolex Explorer, right? I mean, for $70 and a mechanical movement, this is the kind of stuff I've always loved about Seiko. Mm-hmm. This is why I moan and complain when they start releasing $5,000 Prospects watches, because this is one of the biggest things that I think has driven Seiko's business, at least in the US. I can't speak about other countries, but here, this is their bread and butter. And I don't want to see them get rid of this stuff. It's awesome.
And it's such a great gift. I've given the Seiko 5 away as gifts, and I've even gotten people really excited into watches and excited about it. And you personally have done mods on the SKX 007 Seiko, the large case size. And I don't know a lot about the mod community. I don't know very much about it, but I wonder how much you could mod the bezel on this and do some modding on the Seiko 5.
I don't know about the bezel,
SNK,
but you could probably get like dials and hands and all that stuff, right?
And customize.
Yeah.
But this is just such a solid piece. And just Seiko does dials. It's the shimmer on it. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. And the size is fantastic. It's such a great watch for women as well, because it's not too big, but it's large enough to be sporty and noticeable.
Yep, totally.
And visible.
Yeah.
So
No,
what
it's
else?
great,
What else?
great piece.
Let me look at my notes. I was rambling on and on. Exhibition back. Everybody loves that. I wish all watches had that, but
It's nice to see that movement, especially
Yeah.
if it's your intro into mechanical watches and you don't really know what's in that case. It is cool to be able to see it.
it's wonderful. All right. Well, I think that's, any modders out there of the SNK 789. Let us know what you've done if you can. I'm not sure how. Like I said, I don't know a lot about
Or any of the
modding.
SNK series. If you guys have modded one of these before, let us know. It's I'm sure there's a community out there. I mean, the SKX 007 is the big one, but I'm sure you can mod these too.
And again, this is something that you can change the look drastically with a band, whether it's a NATO, a croc. I put a dark brown croc leather on it. It looks so formal, beautiful, and with a metal bracelet, sporty. So you can get some quick release bands, and you can have 4 or 5 different styles out of this one watch.
That doesn't have drilled lugs, does it?
No,
No. Okay. That's okay.
So
I won't
that's
hold it against it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, staying on that same train and speaking of Seiko Prospects, my second is a Seiko Prospects. You actually bought a Seiko Prospects for my birthday for me a few years ago. It was the black dial Pepsi bezel turtle case. So
That was a surprise.
It was a surprise, yeah.
And
it
you-
might have been
you
for
had-
Christmas or something. I forget.
It was
but-
your birthday, and it was a surprise, and you had wanted it, and I didn't really know that, but I figured every man has to have the Pepsi Seiko Prospects. Correct?
I could get on board with that. Yeah. Yeah. So I had that turtle, and then I think it might have been early 2018 or late 2017. They released the SRPC 44, which was the all gold,
Yellow gold.
yellow gold plated turtle.
Yes.
We
saw it in Macy's, and
We
I
did.
said, I love me some yellow gold.
and I was like, no, I can't do that. And
No, you have to get it.
it comes on a black rubber strap, and I just looked at it, I'm like, I can't. I don't know. With the black rubber strap at the gold case, it just wasn't speaking to me. And then Strapcode came along with a gold Jubilee bracelet. I think it was the day they released that bracelet on Strapcode. I bought the bracelet and immediately went online and bought the watch. And so now it's the full-on 80s gold blinged out, big, huge
It's beautiful.
wrist clock. This thing's awesome.
It's handsome.
It's, I mean, I don't know if handsome is the right word, but
I think it's handsome.
drilled lugs. See the drilled lugs? See that?
Well, the funny thing is you didn't like the yellow gold with the
But-
black strap,
but
and then
all
all of a
yellow?
sudden, the Jubilee band came out.
If you're going to go gold, you got to
You
go
got to
all
go all
the
the
way.
way.
And so that's what I did with this bracelet. And I think I paid about 130 for the bracelet off of Strapcode. And it is a Jubilee. So it's got the brushed larger outer links and then the polished smaller inner links. And this thing just rocks. It's so fun to wear. Black dial, yellow loomed round indices, kind of your typical Turtle Prospects dial. Day date. It's the 4-hour 36 movement. And just a ton of fun. I like the turtle. It's got the crown down at 4 o'clock, and it's big, 44 millimeters. It's a big watch.
It doesn't wear
I don't know if you
large.
could pull that off, could you?
I don't think I can, but I've seen it online on Instagram on a lot of the fellas, and it looks great.
Oh yeah,
But
that's
too
pretty
big.
huge.
The lugs actually don't go over.
Well, that's
My
the thing
wrist,
with that turtle
but-
case, right? It's got really,
Right.
it's got a typically shorter lug to lug distance.
It's just so terribly sporty. It doesn't fit my. It doesn't fit my lifestyle.
It's for a hairy arm. I think
Does it-
I think you
does
got to
it-
have hairy
Does
arms
the bracelet
to pull
pinch
this
your
off.
hair? Does the
No,
bracelet? Okay.
no, the bracelet's great. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't cheap. The bracelet was 100 and something.
It's heavy.
Now it retails for 400, but I've seen them for well under 300. So,
Especially if you find a sale.
especially on sale, especially this time of year, if you went to a department store and they've got their multiple discounts and sales and stuff, you could probably get the watch and the Strapcode bracelet for under 500 total. So,
But you could start with just the watch, and I think when we saw the biggest sale, I think it might have been $250 or $300. for the watch.
Yeah, you could.
Might even been less.
But it needs the gold bracelet. You have to have the gold bracelet.
But again, for the listeners, it can, you don't have to dump all that money in one fell swoop. You can get the watch, get the bracelet later, and there you go.
Gotta have the bracelet.
You got a collection.
It's awesome. So that's the SRPC 44. The strap code, I had it up here. I think I might have closed it, but
you'll find it there at
I'll
strap
put the
code.
link and the part number for this bracelet on the website post when I get that up for this episode. So if you like the look of it, it's easy to find this watch on Island Watch, Long Island Watch, or Macy's or JCPenney. I mean, anyone that carries Seiko, any of the big department stores, you'll be able to find this for $300 or less during Christmas sales. And then I'll post the link to the bracelet if you're digging the look, because it is just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
And it has a retro look without being cheesy, I think.
I'm sorry, retail's $525 on the watch, but we've seen it for under $300. Mm-hmm. And it is very retro, and like I said, it's very 80s. It is. Big hairy arm gold watch, 80s throwback. I love it.
But 80s was not a long time ago that was kind of my prime. So
some of our listeners were not born.
No,
actually, some of our listeners were probably not born in the 90s.
So for me, that's a normal watch.
I guess it's not really.
It's a regular Seiko men's gold watch.
Yeah, it definitely has a retro feel to it, though.
It does.
So that's my second. Love this one.
Great. Okay, so I'm on to my third. And this is a watch that you saw hit the market and thought I would like.
I can't see it. What is it?
And you purchased it as a surprise. It was a surprise, or was it a birthday?
I purchased it when I did, because they sold out, I think, in a day.
It's the Timex Marlin Snoopy, the Red Baron Snoopy. The retail's $249, and they sold out. And they said they have a waiting list for if you.
They got some more in last year, I think, and sold out really quickly. Mm-hmm. Just keep an eye if you like the design. I mean, Timex has been coming out. They've been adding to the Peanuts collection, so they've got a bunch of other ones. They've got Charlie Brown with a kite. Brown. I think that one's actually available, but they got a bunch. So if you can't find this one, then there's lots of choices. Okay.
Am I talking about the watch, or are you?
I'm talking about the watch.
Okay, so $249 retail. It's got the Miyota movement in it, and I believe the original Marlins did not have a Miyota. Is that correct? You're better at the details, but it does have the.
Do you want me to answer?
No,
I'm afraid to talk now.
It's a 40 millimeter case, silver dial, applied indices, and 20 millimeter lugs, so you can accessorize it with the NATO or the leather, or Milanese bands, anything you like, and. It's really cute, and it's a large dial, but it works on everybody. I think anyone can wear this watch.
Yeah, the original Marlin reissue was a hit. It was 34 millimeters, but the one knock against it, for better or for worse, was that it had a Chinese-made movement in it. So when they came out with this one, I think that was a big step forward to put a Miyota movement in it. Some people are not going to like the larger case size, but it's so slim. Mm-hmm. That it looks great on your smaller wrist. I mean, there's no issues whatsoever.
No, I think it's a great. I think any smaller and it wouldn't. Makes it really easy to read. Mm-hmm. And I love Snoopy. My very first watch when I was 5 was the Snoopy, light blue with the white Snoopy on it, mechanical wind.
And just stick indices. I think some of them have the stylized, Arabic numerals,
which I love. I love those too.
Yeah.
There's actually. I saw that I wouldn't mind owning myself is the Timex Marlin with its yellow gold with the yellow gold Milanese strap. Again, Milanese. I've always loved that, and I'm seeing it more and more, which makes me happy because it's one of my favorite types of bracelets. But they do have the plain, not a Snoopy. It's the plain Timex Marlin series, yellow gold. Oh, can you hear that rotor? I mean, this thing is just humming like a top. The yellow gold with the Milanese is a fantastic watch for men and women. That would be a really nice addition. But
now, does that have is the one you're talking about an automatic, or is it one of the quartz pieces?
It's the Marlin, just like this, but it's not a Peanuts
Oh, gotcha.
theme, and it's yellow gold. So it's yellow gold
Gotcha.
and yellow gold, all gold. Yellow,
time.
yellow, gold, gold. So, but this is a fantastic collector piece for someone who likes peanuts or Timex.
Yeah.
Timex is stepping up.
It's cool. It's a fun one. And like I said, they've released a bunch more in the Peanuts collection. So if you're more partial to a Charlie Brown or something, there's all kinds of different
And
options for you.
I anticipate they'll probably have more Peanuts characters as well. And they have quite a few
Probably.
different styles, not just this style.
Yep, and they have automatic and quartz pieces. If you don't want to spend $250, you can get one, I think, for $100 or a little over $100 for a quartz. So,
And I think that is it the Expedition has the characters with the arms that move as well, like a Linus,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've got the NATOs with the different colored.
so the hands are
strap.
actually they're
very cute,
arms.
and those are quartz pieces, so those are affordable. And I've seen a lot of grown-ups wearing those, so it's fun.
Cool.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a neat one.
So
Definitely a neat
all
one.
right, what's next for you?
What's next for me? So this one, I bought this kind of early on in my rejuvenated collecting phase.
You've gone through lots of phases over the years,
oh,
and
man,
we've
I
been
have.
married since what? We started dating in '99, so we've seen each other go through our phases of watch collecting.
Yep. This is the Orient Sun and Moon version 2. And there's been 3 versions so far. And usually it's, they might change up the font or they rearrange the subdials. But the premise always stays the same. You've got a very ornate dial, kind of
Gyosh.
yeah, lots of guilloche on the dial, a lot of pattern work, super multi-level, really deep multi-level, which is cool. It does make it a thick watch, but yeah, it's got Arabic numerals. I'm sorry, Roman numerals, and then you have at 10:30. You have the sun and moon indicator. Just AM PM. This is not a moon phase. It's an AM PM indicator, circular dial. And then over at 2:30, you have a day of the week, circular day of the week indicator, which is pretty cool. So you've got a small central hand, and that just points to the day of the week. And then down at 7:30, you have an opening for the date, and it'll display the date and then the day before and the day after. So it shows 3 of the days.
I have to say that with all those complications, remind everybody that is an automatic watch.
Oh yeah, it's an automatic with a display case back. Orient does their own movements.
It's really pretty. I think they're a really underappreciated brand, and I've said that for a long time because there's just something classy about and balanced about their dials.
They could help themselves a lot if they fix their advertising campaign, because I don't understand most of their advertising, and it's probably a regional thing, and I think they need to regionalize their marketing, because in the US most of their stuff is totally like off the charts, weird, don't understand it, and whether they ever do that or not, I don't know. It's a great brand, but their marketing leaves a little to be desired.
Okay, we can tell that Ranch Racer majored in marketing in college.
I did. So like I said, it's very ornate, kind of like my Detroit watch company, the 1701. It's a 42.5 millimeter case, pretty thick. I didn't measure the thickness, but it's a thick watch. And I think it's all polished. So it's a dress piece, right? Leather band, with a croc pattern on it, deployant clasp. It's very, very dressy. This isn't one that I wear with jeans and a t-shirt. Most of the time I need to at least have a nice dress shirt on, then I'll wear this one.
Or a work, not so much a dress shirt, like a blazer dress shirt, but a patterned, you could do a nice patterned button up with that. And you could put I tried to wear that myself and it was just too big.
Yeah.
But I wonder if my favorite Milanese would fit on that.
You could try it. It might.
With a chunky sweater.
I've tried wearing it like with a polo, like a branded polo, and it's just not. It's too dressy for that with all the polish,
especially with the
polished.
the black band.
Polished. Every surface is polished on this thing.
Perhaps a suede, regular band in a color.
That might work.
I think a goldenrod,
but it
orange,
almost needs a leather. I mean, it just
right, but more of a rough texture. Maybe a pumpkin color
work.
might be nice, or
I don't know.
a plum. for fall.
It's not one I wear very often. I actually even thought about selling it at one point, but why? It's such a neat, every time I look at that dial, there's just so much going on, so much to look at. It's fun to look at under a loop. And one of the few watches I've gotten compliments on because it just really, boom, just stands out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
A lot of contrast.
yeah. And the levels, I mean, you've got the dial surface, and then one level down, you have the sun and moon complication. Then a level below that, you have the day of the week. And then really deep down below that, you've got the date. Mm-hmm. But it's big enough and bold enough that you can see it. Right? It doesn't get shadowed over.
It's pretty. The steps are really, it makes the watch.
Yep. So, and I think I paid around $250. I don't think you can get the Gen 2 anymore unless you buy used. Gen 3 is similar. They have, white dial, blue dial, I think black dial. But they've moved, I think they took the sun and moon and they moved it opposite. So down to like 330 or 4. So they, like I said, they moved the subdials around. But if you like the look of this, I think the Gen 3 is just as nice looking. So, I think it retails $250, $300. Tough to beat.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's automatic.
Yep.
I've seen quite a few fancy vintage Seikos that are quartzes that I've eyed with that are actually moon phase, true moon phase. And they're similar to that style. Of course, a lot thinner, and they're quartz, but I'll tell you, they're pretty pricey, these vintage Seikos with the moon phase.
Yep.
Very pricey. And they weren't very expensive like 3 years ago, but now they're...
All the vintage stuff has gone up in price.
Right.
Mostly because of podcasts like us that talk about it and then get people interested, and maybe we just keep our mouth shut.
Okay. Nah. Okay, so shall I do my last piece?
Yeah.
So I've done this watch on wrist checks before, and this is the Humism kinetic art watches that have multi-level discs inside the dial that all turn at different times, and they create a kaleidoscope or different pattern that continually evolves. And I love these because I majored in art in college. That's my degree. So anything artsy, I love. And you actually did a review on this for Wristwatch Review.
I did a preview piece during David's first Kickstarter campaign. Yeah. So I had never seen the watch, but he's got videos online so you can see what they look like in movement. It's just kinetic art. It's really, really neat.
They're beautiful. And we have all 3 patterns that they did in the initial offering, and they're all different. So the cases are 39 millimeters. And before I get into too many details, the design of the one that I'm holding right now is called the eudaimonia. And it translates, I looked this up, the Greek word, it translates as happiness or welfare, or, however, human flourishing or prosperity and blessedness have been proposed as the more accurate translation for that word. And I looked that up on good old Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
But movement, so it's stainless steel, 39 millimeters, 11.4 millimeters thick, and it's got a white dial with black design. The newer ones are color, which we can talk about after.
Yeah, he's got some new releases. Yeah.
And the markers for hour and minutes are simple. They're a dot and a hollow dot and a solid dot. So it's a slightly different way of telling time. It's more relaxed. And it is, of course, a timepiece, an accurate timepiece, but it's a more relaxed way of telling time. Movement is the NH35A, and this one shipped with the black leather 20 millimeter band, and it shipped also, we chose a Milanese mesh, and that's the one that I wear on everything. Mm-hmm. I wear that band on any watch I can put that on, and I have it on the Speedmaster right now, as I said earlier. But nice thing about this company is they actually donate 5% of their sales to charity, and they donate to a charity called Mercy Relief. And you were telling me a little bit about more detail about what they do with children and art therapy, because the focus of that relief is in Asia, where there are a lot of earthquakes, typhoons, floods, and traumatic, post-traumatic stress with children as well. So they've it says here they've provided aid to over 2 million people across 25 countries, which is a great thing to do.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and we do have all 3 models.
We have the 3 original. He's got some new black and white, like the Kato. I think he's got 2 new black and whites, the Kato and one other. And then he's also got some with a yellow background and black case. So there's I think it's one is the Helios and the other is yours.
Geist, or
I think they're both called Helios, but then one is the Geist Panner, one is the how do you pronounce that?
I think it's eudaimonia.
Okay. And then he's got the Kato and the Rhizome in black and white. So 2 new patterns there. And I feel terrible. I keep telling David I'm going to do a preview on those. Those are all pre-order, the colored ones and the new black and white ones. But we actually we have a lot more listeners on the podcast than we do hits on the website. So more of you are hearing this right now. So consider this my review. But
and we could even do a YouTube.
Yeah, but definitely check out, go over to humism.com. Really, really neat pieces. If you just want something that's fun, you can still tell the time with it, but it's a conversation piece, right?
Well, and it's accurate. It's a Seiko NH35. So
Yeah,
this is a fine watch. And the exhibition back shows the movement, and the rotor it's got a custom design on it. So it's really a beautiful piece.
Yeah, they're neat. Piece. And I'm sure he's going to keep coming out with new designs. I hope he comes out with some more colors, and maybe even, something with some subdials. Who knows? I mean, I think the sky's the limit, the way he's designed these. It's just, they're really fun, really cool pieces. And
as far as this piece, I love the simplicity. There's nothing distracting you. It's moving art. It's kinetic art, and it just feels good. I'm holding it right now, and it's a brushed stainless. So, it's focused on the dial and what, the art, what the art is actually doing, the moving art.
Yeah. Now the new yellow Helios versions are more sporty, right? They're a black case,
very
black leather with all yellow stitching. So they're very bold, very sporty. So if you're looking for something that's a little less dressy on the dressy side and a little more on the sporty side, then look at those Helios colored versions, and those are pretty cool. So
yeah, and it's interesting because I'm looking at all 4 of my pieces. They're all almost the same size. Mm-hmm. They all have very similar case shapes, but some are brushed and some are polished.
They're all just good solid everyday watches.
I have a black dial, a pearl white, a silver, and a white with black. So it's it's a very neutral collection that I have today.
Yeah. That
you could interchange all your bands. So that's another neat thing about collecting is if you're not going too crazy on your dial colors, you can accessorize with your bands and bracelets.
Yeah, and those all retail for around $300. I think the most expensive
correct.
The most expensive is the yellow Helios, which is on pre-order, and I think that one's around $340 or just under that. But very affordable, and they're just conversation starters. I mean, when I've worn that, I've had people say, "Whoa, what are you wearing? What is that?" And then you have to tell them how you tell the time on it, right? You've got the hollow disc and the solid disc on the edge, and one is the minute, one is the hour. It does not have minute marks. It's got 5-minute marks, so it's a little bit more relaxed way of telling time. But they're super cool. Really dig them.
Right, and you can hack it. So if you can kind of guess where. Well, no, let's see. Yes, you can hack it.
Yeah.
But you don't know where the actual the second hand is because it's a disc, unmarked. But you can get pretty close. But it's not designed. This is not a watch to be accurate with. This is a timepiece that is a more relaxed.
Yeah, and it's got the NH35
A.
Yeah,
it's got a ghost position.
It does. It's not the NH38, and I'd like to see him use the NH38, but maybe he just couldn't get his hands on them. So you do have the phantom position for the date because there's no date window.
It doesn't really hurt it.
Big deal. Whatever.
Not a big deal.
Only you're going to know that. Some people that bugs some people. I prefer not to have it, but it's not a reason to not buy these. They're just so cool looking. So, and who knows, maybe David will be able to get his hands on some NH38 movements without the date. But yeah, check them out, humism.com.
All right.
All right, my last one.
Yep.
How are we doing on time?
We're think
getting close to an hour. Okay, so my last one. So speaking of moon phases, a moon phase is something I had wanted to add to my collection for a while, but you beat me to it.
I did.
You beat me to it with your Frederic Constant that we bought in Vegas. But then shortly thereafter, if you guys follow what used to be called Mass Drop, now it's called Drop, where they're basically big group buys. So if you get enough people to commit, then they do a big group buy of whatever the item is. And they have a whole section on watches. Every day they seem to have a new watch.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, actually, we had a listener suggest that watch to us. And we talked about this before we mentioned that person.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to go back and look when you purchased it, because it was a watch you were happening to wear as a wrist check.
Right. Yeah.
Because when I was looking for my moon watch, someone said, "Oh, Perpetual Girl, you should check this one out." So I believe this is the one, but the one they had a smaller version, correct?
Well, they've had a lot of
There's
this
a 36,
brand.
I think.
Yeah, I think there might have been a 36. This is a 40. So I guess I should say what the heck it is. It's a Glycine Combat 6 Classic Moon Phase. Deep blue midnight dial. It's got, it's got a Sellita. I think it's a Sellita movement. I don't know the number on it, but it is a Sellita movement. Like I said, I got it on what's now Drop. It used to be Mass Drop. Now it's Drop. They used to call it Drop. It's got loomed stick indices over that dark blue dial. Pretty wide lugs, 22 millimeter lugs, which seem to work. At first I was a little skeptical because it feels like it should have 20 millimeter lugs, but I'm actually really glad it does have 22s, because my brown leather Detroit watch company double deployment strap is on this thing now, and I love it. Looks great. I think it came with a black. I want to say it came with a black leather strap, like a patent leather.
It didn't come with a bracelet?
No.
Some did, but I think they were sold out.
Yep. So it came with a patent leather. This is more of a brushed, like a matte brown leather. It just really works. Looks really good. And then it's got a 0 to 60 outer track, a 24-hour inner track. What else can I say about this? And I paid less than $400 for it on Drop.
It's got a classic oyster shape case, but it's not a wide bezel. It makes the dial look really large. The bezel is actually very narrow when you look at it from the top, so I think that's why the wide lugs work so well.
Could be.
Because they're aligned.
You don't see a lot of the bezel.
No. And it's got a bit of a crown guard on it as well. It's a really pretty watch.
Yeah, and the bezel is polished, but then the top of the lugs are satin finished. And the sides of the lugs are polished. So it's kind of a nice contrast with the polished bezel with the satin brushed lugs. The moon phase window has a pretty standard polished moon with some polished stars.
It's like a silver
on a matching blue background.
Reflective.
And then a white date window. So you paid a lot more than this for your moon phase. I was pretty excited to get this for under $400. And I definitely, if you guys like watches, sign up for Drop. Get an account on Drop and sign up for the emails, because I get them every day, and there's some really neat offerings.
Especially if you have something in your mind that you're waiting for, you can just put your name in there, and maybe it'll
and
land.
Most of them are kind of fall into this more affordable range, but I've seen some $5,000 watches on there as well. If you're shopping for something that's higher end, you may see it on Drop.
There's also an exhibition back, and this is really nice.
Yep.
It's pretty.
So hard to beat. Moon phase for under $400, automatic. I was pretty excited. And this one gets quite a bit of wrist time. I wear it quite a bit to work, and it's a good, especially with this leather strap, it's kind of a good everyday.
And now Glycine is all under the Invicta umbrella. So we may see more.
Yeah.
More Glycine.
And it's got the newer winged logo on it that some people like, some people don't. I don't really care. But I've always liked Glycine. So I wanted a moon phase, and that brand has always been in the back of my mind. So when this popped up for $390 something. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to buy it. So that's my fourth.
Excellent. Well, that's all 8 watches. So
yeah. And we have nothing else.
We don't.
We have no other topics for today. Like we said, this was kind of like, hey, let's record. Let's remind people that we've got the contest running until midnight, and we wanted to get an episode out there. And hopefully you guys enjoy these What's in the Collection episodes. I think we've done a couple per year since we started the podcast. So they're fun for us because we like to share what we have. But if you guys have ideas or topics you want to hear about, some of you have reached out to us. Definitely. I do
have a lot of feedback from people. They want to hear more about quartz because we did our monster quartz episode a while ago. So I'm sure we'll do another.
More of those.
Because I think I have more quartz pieces than you do. So we'll probably be doing a lot more of those again because those seem to be popular.
Yeah, and you've probably noticed we focus less on news than we used to, just because
everybody's doing news.
Everyone talks about the news, and there's no reason for us to just regurgitate what we're reading online, right? It doesn't make sense.
Right, because every time I go to set my time on my watch, on watch time, you've got all the big, all the top. The top news is already there.
There's plenty of places for you guys to get news. If you want to hear some news, or if there's specific news topics you guys want us to talk about, feel free to reach out and let us know. But we focus less on that. If something's really, really big, then we'll talk about it. Like everyone else will talk about it. But
like the mesh band on the new 007.
Well, that's why Milanese is so huge right now.
But I've worn it forever.
I know, but now it's like the in thing because
which is great.
The Bond Omega Seamaster
that
came
means
out
I've
with
been
it.
in, and
so
I didn't even know it
for a long time. But
and tell us again how much that watch is.
Over $9,000 for a Seamaster. Yeah, a little bit, and titanium. Don't ask me.
I believe there's a new Seiko 5 that looks very similar to it.
There may be, but Omega's lost its mind lately on pricing. I don't know where they're coming from, but
it's got the movie.
I like the look of it. It's cool.
007.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's James.
To me, it's not worth over $9,000.
But however, hey, to someone's going to love that watch.
I'm sure somebody will, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that'll pay the price. It is cool looking. It's that vintage look. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of other options out there, like the Tudor Black Bay 58. There's a lot of more affordable options that are just as nice, if not nicer. So, and
even more versatile that you can wear with an everyday.
So anyway, if there's specific news items you guys would like us to cover, let us know. If there's other topics, we're always open to topic ideas. This show's for you guys, like we always say. So we want to be talking about stuff that interests you. So I think that's it. Final reminder, you have till midnight Pacific time tonight. Get over there to Instagram and enter the contest if you haven't. You're crazy not to. This watch is so cool. So whoever wins this thing is really going to enjoy it. And
very lucky person.
Yeah, and always we're going to extend the offer if you want to do a reader review. We're totally open to that. If you guys want to write a reader review for the website, we'd be happy to post that. Other than that, one thing we didn't do today, which we did in the last episode, was read some iTunes reviews. But we did say we may not do those all the time. But for the ones that we read last time, you guys are getting some swag. So that should be shipping out pretty soon.
And I've gotten some new reviews, and we'll read those next time because I didn't have time to put them in my notes.
Yeah, no, this was thrown together really quickly, but we do want to keep reading those reviews because we appreciate it. So get out there, read a review, and write a review. And if we read it, you get some swag. Excuse me.
You all right?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm ready to wrap this. What about you?
I am too.
All right, let's wrap it. Guys and gals, thanks as always. We love having you as listeners, and a lot of you as friends, and all of you as part of the Love and Watches family. So stay tuned for episode 32 in the next week or two. I am Ranch Racer.
And I'm Perpetual Girl, and thank you so much for listening.
We'll catch you guys next time. Later.
Bye-bye.